Ever heard of a war that started over a golden apple? It sounds like a fairy tale, but this is how the legendary Trojan War began. It all kicked off at a wedding party for the gods. Eris, the goddess of discord, wasn't invited, so she crashed the party and tossed a golden apple inscribed for the fairest into the crowd. 3 powerful goddesses, Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite, all claimed it. They asked a mortal, Paris, the prince of Troy, to be the judge. Aphrodite offered him the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen of Sparta, as a bribe. Paris couldn't resist, gave her the apple, and the seeds of a decade-long war were sown. The problem was, Helen was already married to Menelaus, the king of Sparta. When Paris sailed to Sparta and sailed away with Helen, Menelaus was furious. He called upon his brother, Agamemnon, and all the Greek kings who had once sworn an oath to protect Helen's marriage. A massive Greek army, 1,000 ships strong, set sail for the city of Troy to bring her back. This wasn't just about one woman. It was a matter of honor, pride, and power. The stage was set for one of the greatest conflicts in mythology. For 10 long years, the Greeks laid siege to the mighty walls of Troy. The war was a brutal stalemate. Heroes rose and fell on both sides. For the Greeks, there was the mighty Achilles, the greatest warrior alive, seemingly invincible except for his one weak spot, his heel. He was a force of nature on the battlefield. On the Trojan side, there was the noble Hector, a devoted family man and the greatest defender of his city. He fought bravely not for glory, but to protect his home and his people. The conflict wasn't just fought by mortals. The gods of Olympus took sides too, meddling in the battles and turning the tides of fate. The war dragged on, filled with epic duels and heartbreaking losses. The most famous clash was between Achilles and Hector. Fueled by rage over the death of his beloved friend Patroclus, Achilles hunted Hector down and defeated him in a fierce battle outside the city walls. But even with Troy's greatest champion gone, the city did not fall. Achilles himself would later be killed, struck in his vulnerable heel by an arrow shot by Paris. It seemed like the war would never end. The Greeks were exhausted, and their morale was at an all-time low. They needed a miracle, or at least a very, very clever idea. And that's when Odysseus, the cunning king of Ithaca, came up with a brilliant plan. The Greeks pretended to give up and sailed away, leaving behind a massive wooden horse as a supposed offering to the gods. The Trojans, celebrating their apparent victory, foolishly dragged the horse inside their impenetrable walls. But it was a trap. Hidden inside the horse's hollow belly were Odysseus and a handful of elite Greek soldiers. That night, as the Trojans slept, the soldiers snuck out, opened the city gates, and let the entire Greek army, which had secretly returned, pour into the city. Troy was sacked, burned to the ground, and the long, bloody war was finally over. The story of the Trojan horse has become a timeless warning about deception and the dangers of accepting gifts from your enemies. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this epic tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from history and mythology.